Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB, your sports guy. Tonight, we got two special guests joining us on the show tonight. But before we get to our guests, I got my co-host you can catch on CrescentCitySports.com, the one, the only, George Peppers. George, what's going on?
Hey Jared, how you doing, sir? I'm hyped up for this week of shows that we got, and it starts with a really good first guest. I can't wait to get it going, bro.
Oh, man, I'm ready to get into it. Let's go. Our first guest was the star quarterback at ednakarr High School for 3 seasons. He's now going to play college ball at Concordia University of St. Paul in Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the one, the only, AJ Samuel. AJ, how you doing?
I'm good. What's up, guys? It's a pleasure being here.
Man, we thank you for joining us, man. It's a pleasure. AJ, how would you describe your playing career at ednakarr?
It was a great journey, honestly. Even being my first year, as a freshman, being able to sit behind Leonard as the previous quarterback, it was awesome. Just being able to step foot into a great program like that and being able to, to showcase my abilities, be able to ball out my sophomore year and then, be able to show everything else what I can do my junior and senior year.
You're talking about showing everything you could do your junior and senior year from your sophomore year. How were you able to become a better quarterback and learn through your progressions over those 3 years?
I think the main thing was just, becoming smarter. And so, like, I know my sophomore year, I was a little trigger happy. So, my interceptions might have been up. But at the same time, my touchdowns was up. But becoming in my junior and senior year, my playmaking and my ability to think more like throughout the play became a little bit better. So I'm able to fit things in windows and being able to differentiate if I should throw it against certain defenders or not.
Your senior year, you get hurt against Jared Curtis.
Yep.
And they use you as an emergency option against Scotlandville and even against Baton Rouge Catholic. Would the season have gone a little bit different if you didn't get hurt?
Absolutely, for sure. We all know, the outcome we would have wanted the outcome to be different. But Baton Rouge Catholic was a great team, so with the situation that was handed to them, they was able to perform. So, but of course, everybody on our side, we think the outcome would have been a little bit different if we had a healthy AJ.
I say this. I said it would have been different. And when JT Curtis gets on Friday Night Football, it says the injury to AJ Samuel is very significant. And if he's not hurt, they're going to the Dome still, even though they went on to win. That says a lot when JT says it.
Yeah, there's a lot of respect for Coach JT. It's a mutual respect. Like we all know, he's a great coach. Great relationship with Coach Bryce. Through that, everyone on our sideline has a great respect for him as well. So, it's a pleasure for me to hear that. Knowing a great coach like him being able to praise me.
Most definitely. What would you say was the best game you ever played in at ednakarr?
God, that's a tough one. To be honest with you, I really can't put a specific. You know what? I am. I'm gonna go my senior year against St. Aug. I'm gonna say that was my best game.
Okay. How would you describe playing for Coach Bryce Brown?
I would say that it was a challenge as far as his will to win. As a guy, for me, my will to win is very high. I got a high motor, things like that. But being able to have somebody there next to me is pushing me to do better. But it's also something that I like. I accept the challenge also. He was a guy who he's always pushing to be better. But at the same time, he's still showing that love, that tough love though, to where it's like, hey, look, you need to do this, this, and this in order to reach your end goal, and which was needed for me and also my teammates. So, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed to be once again coached by another great coach and having positive input from him as well.
So I would say it's okay to say that Coach Bryce Brown was an important factor in your life.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
George Peppers, do you have any questions for Mr.
Absolutely.
AJ Samuel?
Absolutely. AJ, first of all, piggybacking two things off of Jared. First, thank you for joining us and taking the time to join us. We appreciate you. My first question to you, when you got that in the car, they already had unprecedented level of success. With all the state championships and whatnot, you won a few yourself there. How much pressure did you feel when you got there to maintain that level of success? When you got the car, how much level of pressure did you put on yourself to keep that level of success going?
Um, Coming into it, you know, I didn't really think of it as pressure. I just thought
Mhm.
of the things of like what I instilled in myself, what my family instilled in myself is being a great player, being a great person, and just make sure I continue to thrive on that and make sure, I keep my same motives and goals coming into car and throughout
Right.
car. So coming in, like I said, I'm a competitor, so I don't want to lose. Losing isn't in my blood, but sometimes things may go your way, sometimes things may not. So that pressure wasn't really a thing for me. But at the same time, I still understand like the people behind me saying, "Look, you got to win these games. This to really stamp your recruitment or your to the world, to the nation, to the city. Like if I'm really that guy, like I say I am, like I'm like people see me to be, I need to perform."
Second question: tell us about Bryce Brown, the man, not the football coach, the man, the personal side of him to you. I know y'all had a great relationship, but tell the world that doesn't really know Bryce, the human, say the human, but the man more than the coach.
So like aside from the coach, Coach Bryce, he's a great guy. Always being able to just check on his players, whether if it's a time of need or isn't. I know, we had that year with Ida, Hurricane Ida. He's always reaching out, making sure everybody's safe, making sure everyone have a place to
Mhm.
stay. And if he could help in any way, he was making sure he did that. So it was bigger than football to Coach Bryce. He rather check in on to you as in a personal level rather than the athlete. It's bigger than that, bigger than being an athlete. Once it's all over and said and done.
And as Jared mentioned, the injury your senior year, I think it changed the dynamics of how the season played out for you guys. I really honestly think if you'd have stayed 100% healthy, I think we're talking about a different ending to the story. But that being said, it is what it is. Let's talk about your summation, your place now in Concordia. Is it Concordia State in Minnesota?
Yep.
Um, th- you're going to play quarterback there, which I'm glad for you because I think you're an amazing quarterback. I've watched you play. I think you're an immense talent that deserves a chance, and you're going to do well there. I feel like you're going to do great things there. But during the recruiting process, did any Division 1 team recruit you as a quarterback, or did they try to get you to switch spots? And what made your decision to go to Concordia?
Um, you know, um, of course, major D1s was there. Any D1 was there. It was schools from all over. It was just with the timing of things. I know I left early. I wanted to get out there in like around January's time, and I felt like Concordia, was the best option for me at the time. Schools all over. Coach Bryce did a great job. Just helped me out with recruitment, and then I felt like me and my family did a great job. Just putting in the work, putting in the grind, putting in the effort to make sure I was seen. So it was at the moment I just felt like it was smarter and better for me in my situation to go ahead
Mhm.
and leave early in the 10 Minnesota.
How have things gone for you thus far? You said you're an early entry into Concordia. How to go in spring practice? How do you feel you've progressed, and where do you think you are? Where do you think your game's at this point?
So spring ball, it was pretty good for me. I was being able to showcase that with the grown men, guys that older, more developed than I am. Let them know that like, hey, look, I'm from here. I'm from New Orleans. I don't know if you heard about those guys, but we're gonna show you what we could do. We're not just some guy you could just push over. So I had a great season. I had a tough season. Well, not season. Let me not say season, but that time during spring ball, I was able to showcase the legs. I was able to showcase the arm, and I've been able to turn a few heads. I'm the new
Mhm.
kid on the block, so some guys may not want to hear anything I got to say or want to pay attention to what I could do, but I've definitely turned some heads.
And I have to ask this: it's in Minnesota. Obviously, it's not like Louisiana when it gets to March and April. We start to get warm down here. Up there, it's still cold. How did you handle the any potential elements, any cold? I know you being a New Orleans kid. How did you handle the cold up there?
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't go nowhere without that coat.
Ah,
All that snow, all the freezing ice, slipping and falling every morning, trying to get to practice. You know, I mean, it was a tough adjustment. Like you said, being a New Orleans kid, we not we don't get no cold. We get 60 degrees and swear to God, it's cold outside. So, being able to adjust to that was kind of tough.
Mhm.
But I'm trying to get used to it. I mean, it's still gonna take some time, but it's not nothing I can't handle. I'm gonna be able to
And
get that.
that's what players like you do. That's the thing about you that I admire, your tenacity and your toughness. I know I'm going to ask this, and Jared, I'll turn it over to you afterward.
Problem.
I know you've watched the Algiers America documentary, and you were a very integral part of it. Tell us how you think that the group that put this together have done with the show. I'm sure you've seen it, and it obviously represents in the car in a good light. But in your mind, how good is the show? And give it a little hype.
I mean, shout out to my guys, Mac, Jackson, and Dorado. They were there every day, being able to see what we go through. But I feel like the Algiers America thing with people, they just think, hey, we're focusing on NCAA's football team, when we're not really focusing on that. We're focusing on the black man, the black kid on a daily basis of how we have to live in Algiers or in New Orleans East or in the Ninth Ward of New Orleans, just basically New Orleans in general, how it's a warfare every day. Somebody we know, somebody we're close to, and family members may lose their life. But in reality, when guys like us, our teammates, our players, all we here to do is play football. We're trying to make it out the city one day. And I'm not saying New Orleans is a negative thing, but at the same time, we still have those few that make certain decisions to where it can affect everyone's lives. But as far as the football aspect of it, you see the regular, you see the raw, you see the real that comes for ncaafootball, and you see why we win. We're being able to hold each other accountable, being able to be straightforward, how we have brotherhood, how we treat each other like a family. We're not cutting no corners with anything over there. So we've been able to attack everything head on, and if God willing, we go ahead and win, get the job done.
I want to stick with the Algiers America documentary right quick. How was it always having a film crew around you at school, at practice, and even at your house?
Yeah, I mean, being being in a system like that, being in a program like that, we knew, we're gonna have heads turned towards us. So we got the news crew in our face, we got the documentary crew in our face, we got different headlines like G Sports, Josh Preston. We got guys like that just around us a lot. So in a sense, it we had guys to where we get the big head and think, okay, this is what fame is really like. But at the same time, we had to stay humble because we knew it could be gone in a split second. So I mean, we had Coach Bryce, guys like us, and then our leaders like Michael Richard, Jay Baggs, guys like us, being there to be like, hey guys, look, if you really want to keep this success, this level of fame that you're getting, this attention that we're getting, we have to be able to grind in the weight room. We got to be able to grind on the field. We got to be able to win on Friday nights to get that. So it wasn't really a problem for us because we knew if we wanted to, if the guys like us, we wanted to have that fame, we had to be able to do our job on the back end to being able to get that limelight.
Staying with Algiers America, I was at the game when y'all lost to Westgate.
Mm-hmm.
Your stepmom, Ashante, my cousin,
Mm-hmm.
had got me a ticket, and I was there. Watching the film, you were very hard on yourself about that fumble. Do you think that you cost the game, or you were mad about the fumble happening and not be able to reach the receiver in time?
It's not a who cost the game for me. Like I would never say, oh my guys didn't do this, my guys didn't do that. You know, if the ball is in my hands, I'm expecting myself to make a play. I needed to be Superman in that moment, and I made a mistake. So I'm gonna put it on me. It's gonna be on my shoulders. If the quarterback does a great job, he's gonna win the game. If the quarterback does a bad job, your team not gonna win the game. So that's really on me. So I'm never gonna say it's on someone else, but if I hold on to that ball, that's a different story. We know what AJ Samuel could do. You know what Aaron Addison can do with that football. So you already know how that story ends when those two guys connect.
Most definitely. I want to bring in VK Jones. He's here. Hi, VK. What's going on?
Good evening, gentlemen. How y'all doing? What's going on with you? Don't mind the tardiness. You know what I'm saying? Just It's all good, man.
Ask the question to AJ. He waiting for you.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this. And I wanted to share this video. I don't know if I can do that, but let's go forward. The last play, the second to last play of the game between Warren Easton and ednakarr, that fourth down pass. And it was very amazing. You know, it was just a fact that was probably maybe one of the best calls I probably ever made. My thing was on that fourth down, was McMath your first read or second read or something? Because it was a 4th and 6. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, when you threw it deep, I'm like, wait a minute. All of a sudden the catch was made, and all of a sudden down at the 1, that was just one of the best plays I probably ever called, but amazing big time guts. What was McMath your first read, or was it second read, third?
So, my guy, Yaron McMath, you know, we call him Tank. So he was definitely my first read. We knew previous plays before that we was trying to punch it in, but we just couldn't get it done. So we knew we had an aggressive DB at the time, and you know, Easton have a great defense. You know, they were on our tail the whole game. So we knew, you know, that was an aggressive physical team. So we're gonna have to try to beat them with a little bit of finesse. We got to strategize to be able to, you know, get past their defenders, get past their D line, get past their linebackers. You know, they were doing a great job of corralling us. So I knew I had to put the ball in a spot to where I didn't overthrow the ball, because I knew in moments like that, you know, it's so easy to mess up. It's easy to underthrow a ball because I don't want to overthrow it, or it's so easy to overthrow a ball because it's 4th and 6, like you said. We don't get this first down, we don't get this touchdown, the game possibly could be over, because you know Easton was on our tail the whole game. So he was definitely my first read. So I just had to get it up to him. I know I had a playmaker. I know he's a physical receiver. I know he has height on him. I know he could go get up and jump and get it. So I had to put it in a spot where only he could get it.
Amazing. That was very amazing there. And I thought about that play in the Westgate game more than anything else, because I had a feeling right then and there it was going to be kind of tough, because of the fact that left and right each week people was getting hurt. And when McMath wasn't there, and all of a sudden a couple other people, all you had was like maybe 2-3 weapons. But I know you believe in your depth, but it was just a lot that was building upon that. Like there was some people that were missing compared to that week, and it was like, man, it was gonna be a little bit tough for AJ, but you really fought through regardless of the fact throughout that game.
Yeah, you're definitely right. You know, like you said, the injuries. You know, we had Tank. He had about a hip injury at the time. We had an ejection in Jalen Lucas. You know, of course we don't agree with the call, but we had him out of there. My other running back, Jawin Newman, ACL. You know, it was tough for us, but at the same time, you know, we trying to play for our brother. Win, lose, or draw. You know, we got to let them know, look, we still here for you. We still fight, no matter what the outcome is. And then for the people in the stands who here supporting us, we're gonna give y'all our all, no matter what it is.
Well, the one thing I'm gonna ask you, and I'm gonna let I don't know if George got into some questions yet or not, but at the same time I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna let George Peppers go with some questions.
You ain't let nobody go no questions.
Oh, wait.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right, listen, you funny, bro. Right now, the position you're in right now, especially you're at a college in Minnesota and everything else, and you're in there working hard. How do you like the college that you're at and everything, and especially the journey you went on, especially trying for a school to recruit you? Because I know it was kind of tough with the recruiting and everything, but how you landed there and how do you like it there?
The main thing we talked about before, you know, is freezing cold up there. You know, it's a big adjustment for me, you know, being able to just, you know, be comfortable in that weather. But as a school in whole, it's a great school. You know, I would definitely recommend guys go there. You know, it's a loving family. Even though if it's a different culture, it's a culture shift for me. You know, being in the South now, I'm up north, but it's definitely guys who wants the best for you, and also being able to push you to do better in the program and do better for yourself as a man. Like I said about Coach Bryce, it was bigger than football for him. It's bigger than football from my head coach up there, Coach Currier. You do a great job of being able to reach out and try to connect with different players, no matter what's the race, the gender. You talk to your female, male. It don't matter. He's gonna always be able to reach out to you and try to connect with you.
George Peppers, do you have any more questions for AJ Samuel?
One more. The style of offense you're going to play at Concordia, how similar is it to what you played at ncaafootball?
I think for the most part is very similar because they have a vertical attack once you get deeper into the playbook, and then we have a lot of RPO game. So once I touch that field, I should be able to thrive very well because it's very similar. So um, I can showcase my legs and I can also showcase the arm, and then I'm always using my brain. So it's not nothing new, nothing I shouldn't expect. I should be able to do great things like I did in high school and to be able to translate that to college.
What and what things what well most likely, out there in Concordia, I know it's gonna be a lot for you, but is there hopefully an opportunity for you to hit the field early?
Oh, for sure, definitely. Um, like I said, I've been able to showcase my spring talents and things like that. And during that time, I could definitely pop in from here and there, and hopefully, be able to compete for a starting job eventually. But like I said, the coaches love me, and I love the coaches. Everything's been great, so everything should be smooth.
Mr. AJ,
Yes, sir.
your dad was on Algiers America a lot. And I see he's worked out with you, to get you stronger, make you better. Um, how much do you value that as a competitor, as an athlete, as a football player, that your father helps you out so much to help you be the best that you can be?
Um, as the kids would say today, it's a clutch feeling. It's a clutch thing to have. Because I know many of my teammates, my friends, they lost their fathers, or they may not have their fathers in their lives at the time, and just being able to have that figure, let alone him being my actual dad, being able to have somebody that like you really turn to lean on, to look at, to really ask for advice, it was big. Even where it's times where I may have felt like, look, I don't feel like doing this anymore. Like I need a break. He was there to push me. Like, look, I understand that, but if you want to reach your goals, if you want to be the big name guy that you can be, you got to put in the hours, you got to put in the work, whether this is physical, like, getting in the weights, getting on the field, or if it's mental, like getting in my playbook, staying at school, being able to get my grades right. It was just a great thing there. And then also to have, that bond where it's like, okay, you're my father, but sometimes it could be like a brother moment instead of a father. He's great with being able to adjust with that as well.
Most certainly. We will get you out of here on this last question.
Yes, sir.
What is it that you will take with you to Concordia that you learned playing at ednakarr High School?
The biggest thing to me is not always about talent. It's not all about, the team. Is not always about the sport. It's about building the bond that you have with your teammates, with your brothers, with your coaches, and just making that a family. If you got guys that you trust, the guys you love, you're gonna do whatever it takes to ball out with them on the field. You know, you'll tell a brother, I will break something behind you. I will go die for you. I will go put my life on the line on this field every play, every down, every second for each other. And that's the biggest thing for me. I'm big on loyalty as far as that's concerned. And just being able to trust guys with like doing their job or even having my back if we get into a scuffle with another team. That's my biggest thing. Having brotherhood, having a family. That's all we had at Car. My class of 23, my class of 22 and 21. That's all we had. A big brotherhood, a big bond, a big family.
That is great. Of course, VK got something to say at the very end, like always. We try to close out the interview. He got something to say. Go ahead, VK.
Don't mean to do that. Don't mind it. I know that's family, AJ, and everything, but it has been an honor and privilege to watch you for 3 years in the car
Yes.
through your ups and downs and everything. But you have really overcome a lot of stuff to be where you are, and we
Thank you.
wish you, on behalf of the of myself and Jared and also George of the Hash It Out Show, Crest City Sports. We hope that you continue your success going forward. You do what you have to do on and off the field. Your family is awesome, including your father, including your stepmom and everything, how she really stepped up as a mom to you and everything. Very good family, but I know you're going to carry things for them, and you're going to send a lot of message that your success can really spread, especially to your younger siblings. So we wish you the best.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. This is an honor being able to chop it up with you guys.
Definitely, AJ. Like VK said, wish you the best. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And maybe one day in the future we'll have you on again.
For sure, no problem.
Definitely. Thank you, AJ.
All right.
That's AJ Samuel, former star quarterback at Ednakarr High School. 3 years, sophomore, junior, senior. Tell you what though, man, AJ was the real deal. I don't care what nobody says. AJ was the real deal. And we got some. See, I'm gonna tell you something. Every time the chat light went off, when somebody had a comment, it was orange. I didn't see it because they changed it to blue, and the background is blue. Thank y'all so much. But we had a couple comments. Our good friend Charles Allen, yes he did. Yes he did, especially in that Westgate game, how hurt he was. And then his senior year, hurt again. Emergency, brought him back against Scotlandville. Did his best against Baton Rouge Catholic. Fellowship Church on General Taylor Street. We appreciate it. We appreciate it, Fellowship Church. Thank you so much.
And AJ, I could say that he wasn't just one of the best quarterbacks in the car. In the last 3 years, you can say he was one of the best quarterbacks in the state.
Without a doubt.
He was really a person that made a lot of big plays and everything. And some people, it is unfortunate that he didn't take home a state championship, but at the same time, he was outstanding on the field, on and off. So there's no doubt in my mind, AJ is definitely one of the best quarterbacks that come out of Ednakarr, despite all. But at the same time, it just showed the continuance of the tradition of Ednakarr, with especially in the quarterback position. When you go all the way back, you go back to the days of you look at the great quarterbacks that come through there, that they came through Ednakarr, left and right in there. You talk about Speedy Noel, you talk about all these great quarterbacks coming through there, Alden Clark and all these other people that have been through there. Also the legends, Patrick Surtain and all those great quarterbacks that came out of Carr. It's amazing how that continued from that time. But at the same time, they're going to be looking good also next year with John Johnson Jr., another good quarterback about to come up in the car. So be on the lookout for the Cougars.
George Peppers?
I mean, watching AJ Samuel was fun. I mean, it's a treat to watch a kid, and then actually learning about the kid himself, the young man himself, how he's matured and how he's grown before our very eyes. And I see a comment on there, Ashanti Davis, thank you. We do our best. It's called prior planning prevents poor performance. That's what we do. But no, watching AJ grow up and watching him be he is a warrior. I mean, his senior year should tell you everything you need to know about him. The fact that he was beat up against Scotlandville, hurt, and in a game, a rematch game, which are always tough.
Yes.
Which they're always tough. And they blasted Scotlandville in the regular season, and they wound up in a titanic struggle because AJ was hurt. He had to come to the rescue. And then against Baton Rouge Catholic, look, Baton Rouge Catholic is what they are. That's a terrific program, and it was always going to be tough. But AJ is going to do well at Concordia. I don't know much about the school and the tradition there. We're gonna have to do some research and probably have to watch. I don't know if we can watch games. I'm sure with the internet and everything else, we can access some kind of watching some of those games. Jared, I'm pretty sure you're on that already, being that he's family.
And Mr. Shante and Mr. Mike, you've done an unbelievable job with that boy right there, AJ. And I speak great success in his life going forward.
Most definitely. Now, our next guest. This guy is the head coach of the UNO Privateers baseball team. He also won a national championship playing for LSU. So, as I bring him in now, our next guest, head coach of the UNO Privateers baseball team, Coach Blake Dean. Coach Blake Dean, thank you for joining us. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We are doing wonderful.
Good.
Before we get into your team, how was it playing for Coach Paul Maneri at LSU?
It was awesome. It was awesome. Well, let me rephrase that. It was a struggle at first, and then it was awesome. Coach Maneri's first year at LSU was my first year at LSU. So, and I signed under Turtle and Smoke. Those were the two coaches prior to him that were there who I signed under, and actually came in his first year and kind of, cleaned house pretty much. So he was tough. We did more running than we did baseball. We did more punishment than we did baseball. Then, after our freshman year, we didn't make it to the SEC tournament for the first time in forever. After that, my sophomore year, it took off and never looked back. Obviously won a national championship. So had a lot of success under him.
What is it that you learn from Coach Paul Maneri that helps you become or helps you be a better coach?
To be honest, he did a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of things that he did well, but I would say that the number one thing that sticks out in my mind is just his attention to detail and consistency. When you coach at that high of a level, there's a lot of attention on you. You have to have all your ducks in a row. You can't let things slip through the crack. I remember when I first started coaching, he took it to the degree of detail to me. When we had a recruit, he said, "Hey, when you go out, you show them the field, you got to make."
Okay, Coach.
We've seen the loss of Coach Blake Dean for a second. Hopefully we can get him back.
Hopefully we should. Hopefully,
If we can get him back.
But quickly talking about UNO, I mean, they're
He's back,
33
GP.
and 22.
He's
There we
back.
go.
There he
Let's
is.
go.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Sorry about that.
No, you good, Coach.
Wi-Fi.
All good.
Go ahead, continue, Coach.
Where'd I cut off at? Which part did you lose me at?
We lost you. You was
Right at the beginning.
right at the beginning. You were saying about the adjustment plan
Yes.
for Coach Maneri, and you were saying it was harder days, and then things got better after.
Yeah, so I think I think the thing you asked me is kind of what I learned from him, and I think the attention to detail was his greatest attribute. When you have a lot of players and a lot of attention and the desire to win is at a high level, you have to really have all your ducks in a row. The thing that I kind of remember that he's told me is we had a recruit one time. He took it to this attention to detail. He goes, when you have a recruit come in and you want to show them the field, you need to make sure that you've got the bases in, the lines have been painted, the field has been dragged, everything is taken care of. Because the last thing you want, to come down to our dugout at Alex Box, walk onto the field and see the field drag sitting out in front of the dugout. So again, his attention to detail was just very astronomical and very in tune, and it obviously made a big difference in his coaching.
Now, moving on to UNO. This is your 8th season as the head coach of the UNO Privateers. And 7 out of 8 years, you've had winning records. But this year, a best of 33 wins, if I'm correct. I could be wrong. 33 wins this year. And the best batting average, fielding percentage, home runs, hits, and runs in your conference, I believe. Talk about that. I mean, because that to me is outstanding from your team.
Yeah, we've always kind of prided ourselves on being an offensive team. That's what I love doing at LSU. That's what we were good at, hitting doubles, hitting home runs. It's kind of the game kind of changed for a little while, the last couple of years to where it moved towards the small ball era of you see guys more the bunting, stealing, the bats change. So everything, the offense kind of became a little quieter. But we've always kind of stuck to what we do, and that's hit home runs and, drive balls in the gap. And, I got a team this year that, heck, I think we've hit over 80 home runs, going towards 90 home runs as a team this year. And it's the lakefront's a great place to play when the wind's blowing out. When the wind's blowing in, we want to go on the road. I don't want to play there. But when the wind's blowing out, it's really conducive to a good offense. And again, it's all it has to do with who you recruit as players too. If I go recruit guys that don't hit home runs, my offense wouldn't be a home run hitting team this year. So our coaches have done a really good job kind of finding guys that fit our mold. And again, I kind of tell people this: year to year, your team changes. your players change with the transfer portal and things of that nature. Now, I may have a great team this year that hits home runs, and next year they only may hit 10. So it's my job to use logic and kind of do what's best for my team. I'm not going to go ask a guy to try to hit home runs if he can't, right? So you just kind of have to mold to what you have and make it work.
Before passing on to VK Jones, 2 months ago you got your 200 win at UNO. Talk about that for a second.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I didn't even notice. I didn't even know it, to be quite honest, until after the game was over. And heck, it seems the coaches and the other players knew, and I didn't even really pay much attention to it. But it makes me feel like I'm getting old. I guess I feel it. I'm tired, and I got a little 6-month-old now, so I stuck him in the bed real quick and ran in here and hopped on this. So I'm fighting sleep. I'm fighting sleep. But it's awesome. Again, you don't get to that point without good players and good coaches around you. It's my job to just put them in the right place. And my coaches have done a really good job for me over the years. Then again, you got to have good players. So it speaks volumes for those guys. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Well, Coach Blake Dean, I'm going to tell you this, my friend. Welcome to fatherhood. You know what I'm saying? I'm a father of a 4-year-old. So I already know what time it is when you have a 6-month-old, that you got to fight that sleep, got to help moms out, all that good stuff. So I definitely feel you, especially preparing for going to our conference tournament.
That's right. Yeah.
I know you got to get up in the morning, but I'm gonna ask you this. Appreciate you joining us. Like you mentioned, your offense has been really coming around this year. I was there this weekend for the Nicholls State game. Very clutch hitting by your players, especially Isaac Williams, also Tyler Biskey, and Anthony Herron Jr. And I mean, especially what happened on Friday when he got hit nearby his face just a little bit, took a shot, a hard one, and then all of a sudden Saturday he goes 4 for 4, including a home run to put the game away. What you can say about these 3 key players, especially how Anthony Herron Jr. really overcame everything from that Friday night to Saturday and having a great game he had.
Yeah, so nowadays, kids don't deal with a lot of adversity. Not the type of adversity that that I feel like people used to deal with. It's a little different. Their adversity nowadays is their Twitter's not working, their Instagram password, they can't remember it, right? Or their Snapchat got hacked, right? So I mean that's the adversity now. It's changed a little bit. But Anthony has dealt with a lot of personal adversity. His mother passed away on him a while back. Again, it's been committed to North Carolina out of high school, didn't end up going there and went to Missouri State. Left Missouri State, went to John A. Logan and then came to play for us. And, he actually finished his degree last year and decided to come back and play for me again this year. And, he needed to take some time for himself. And I allowed him to take some time for himself in the fall. He was taking online classes and, I already knew what he was capable of doing. And I've never in my career said, yeah, just see you towards the end of it. But that's what I did with him. I gave him the freedom. I trusted him enough as a human being, as a person, to take some time for himself. And I wouldn't probably have done it with 99.9% of my team or other players, but I felt he was mature enough to handle it. And he's come back and he held up his end of the deal. I held up mine, and he's come back and really, really swung it. And he ended his career with a cycle and a walk-off home run at Maestri Field. Obviously you're going to go play in the conference tournament, but that'll be his last home game. And I would say it's I've had some pretty special moments playing. I don't think I've ever ended on one of them like that. So big piece for us. Bishke, same thing. Bishke's an older guy. Has done a great job at second base. He was my starting shortstop last year. Has overcame adversity, tore his UCL, had to have Tommy John the last weekend of the season last year at Northwestern State. The guy's come back. I'm sure he wants to play shortstop, but moves over to second flawlessly. I think he's made 2 errors the whole year. Has done a really good job and really moved forward offensively. And Isaac's a high school kid that I've had since day one that's made big strides, plays center field, really, really good defensive player for us. Still trying to get more on that back because I know there's more in there, but a guy that's been important to us. So, again, you just talked about 3 guys and 2 players that's had some personal adversity that's overcome some stuff.
Well, you took 2 out of 3, took 1 setback against Nicholls, who wound up celebrating the conference championship on your field. Do you take that a little bit as motivation for your team especially 2 out of 3 against Nichols wasn't that bad at all. You wound up getting a 3 seed, but I think it's a 3 seed, right, Coach? If I'm right,
I think we went to 4 with the tiebreaker. Yeah,
four seed,
same records everywhere.
4 seed. You're going against Lamar. Your thoughts going against them, because after the game, you kind of mentioned it and you felt like hopefully we can get through this one, but it's probably going to be a really tough matchup.
Yeah, Lamar's good. Obviously, I've known their head coach, Will Davis, for a long time. He was at LSU, a little bit older than I was as a player coach, then transitioned into a coach while I was there. So I have a lot of respect for Will, what he does, works hard. That they have a good team. If you look at their ERA, they have a sub 14 ERA. You don't see that anymore, right? With the way the offensive numbers have moved now, that's a really, really good. So they'll have good pitching. Again, for us, we played them at their ballparks like Nichols. The wind always blows in. The ball doesn't fly. So McNeese is a little different. Hopefully I go out there on Wednesday, that sucker's blowing out. That's why I check the every day. We roll us out. I don't care what the score is. We always have a chance to come back and win. When the wind blows in, it's a little different. I hold my breath. So hopefully it's blowing out. But they'll be a good opponent. Got plenty of pitchers. They can hit a little bit as well. A well-coached team.
What's your experience being the coach there now at UNO for a good little while, and you guys been in that position before getting to the conference championship and also winning it? What are you, I know it's been a while for UNO, but what are your chances that this team can go into McNeese and come out of there as 2023 Southland Conference tournament champions?
Yeah, I mean, I think the chances are pretty good. I will say this is a very evenly matched conference this year across the board. You're going into the final weekend. 3 teams have the same record. 4 teams have the same record on the last day. If we would have won all 3 games, we would have been tied for the championship with Nichols, right? So, I mean, it's anybody's game, right? The key is staying healthy, which we've done pretty well this year outside of a couple arms. The arms have been a little bit of a concern for us. In order to win these type tournaments, it's very important to win the first one, just because of the depth of pitching. And somebody's going to have to step up on the mound from the pitching aspect. You can't win regionals and super regionals and conference tournaments without having a couple good arms step up. So I like our chances, but you definitely got to go out there and win the first one to set the table for the next couple.
I'm going to ask you this, and I'm going to let George take care of the next round of questioning. The atmosphere over at Maestri Field, it's been very, very cool this season. Made little changes this year. Got an organist doing some stuff. Got a little nice little sound effects and stuff like that. But then also good crowds at the game. And then also Emmanuel Pepper's doing a great job doing play-by-play and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on the atmosphere this year, especially all the great home games at home this year at Maestri Field?
Yeah, I think it was really good this year. I think we go 20-6 at home this year. So the record at home was pretty daggum good. We've always got some. I think the Saturday, Sunday games we typically do a little bit better, especially on Sundays. Friday night in New Orleans is a real hard draw. There's a lot of stuff going on. That's always been the tough gig. Even when these guys are in the Sun Belt and winning this thing, it's hard to draw people out there. It's kind of in no man's land in New Orleans per se. No one likes fighting traffic these days. So like you said, you touched on Manny. I think Manny does a really good job, and our conference has done a good job in this aspect of televising all the games on ESPN Plus, which makes it a lot more accessible. So, even if you can't make it, you put it on your phone on an app, you can watch it at a restaurant, you can follow it anywhere you want to. So I think it's made it a lot more accessible. And let's be honest, I think people like easy access to things nowadays. So if they can sit on their couch instead of making the drive, sometimes they'll do that. But I think our crowds have been really good. We have a lot of older guys too, so the families have really come in, and a lot of in-state rivals. It was a funny story. We actually played Southern Miss, who's obviously not in-state, but we played Southern Miss, and they sold their stadium out this year. So when we went to play midweek, we had no tickets available. Which is kind of unorthodox, not really how it usually works. So our fans couldn't buy tickets. I actually had COVID, so I didn't make the game. I didn't even know that was still around, but I got COVID. So I missed the game in that aspect. Well, the funny thing is none of our fans could go to it. So when Southern Miss came and played us at our place this year, we had a fan buy the entire stadium out. So he said, he goes, if since you were sold out, we're sold out. I'll decide if I want to let a couple of you guys into the game. So again, a little over the top, but it's always nice to have somebody that supports you like that. And we ended up giving some of their fans tickets, but it's been great this year.
Well, it looks like Southern Miss is going to have to learn their lesson if you schedule next year that won't happen anymore. George, your turn.
That's right.
Thank you for that. Well, Coach, I'm Emmanuel's older brother. It's our first time talking, and I just want to say before we start, I'm very proud of what he's done and how he's progressed and how he's really helped impacted the University of New Orleans with his ability to broadcast the games. He's an amazing broadcaster, and I know y'all have a close working relationship. Just wanted to say that to start. And first, also, thank you for joining us, giving us an opportunity, considering you're a new father, and then you've got the conference tournament starting this week. We thank you for making time out for us. My first question is basically an easy, simple question. From the way you scheduled your non-conference, you played Southern Miss, you had that series at Texas. Was it by design for how this team was able to progress throughout the season? How do you feel that schedule helped you as you prepare for the tournament at Lake Charles?
So the schedule is always a strategic chess match. At least you want to try to be, right? But it's so difficult because I'm not really worried about RPI, right? The Southland Conference has just been a one bid team for a few years now. So we have the highest RPI in the conference, and I want to say it's around 99, somewhere right around there in the top 100. That doesn't get you into a regional, right? That's not getting you home. So the kind of way we try to do it is we try to get as many home games as possible. This year was kind of unique because the conference switched our schedule so many times because Incarnate Word was supposed to leave. They end up staying. Lamar comes in at the last moment. So we had the schedule changed 2 or 3 times, which really affected us. I only had 26 home games. I always have 30 plus. So, again, with our home record, I'd like to have played a few more, but we like to challenge ourselves, and I would definitely say towards the end, we went to Corpus. And this was in a row, to Corpus, to Lake Charles, to Little Rock, back home to San Antonio. So our guys ran the gauntlet and started gaining a little confidence. And when you went on the road, that gets you even more confident at home. So it necessarily wasn't by design to kind of get going at the end, but definitely to kind of challenge our guys.
Well, considering that you've won 3 straight conference series on the road, and 1 at home and 2 on the road, and then you won the Little Rock series, it feels like your team is coming into the tournament playing the right kind of baseball. And obviously, I mean, Lake Charles is a different ballpark than Main Street Field, but how do you feel like the conditions there are going to affect your team going forward? And then you mentioned Lamar, and look, they're well coached with Will Davis. With what they do, they have a sub-4 ERA. What's the challenge for you guys in that first game on Wednesday? And I'm guessing Brandon's going to throw game 1.
Yeah, our intention is to throw Mitchell. He'll be on 5 days rest, so we'll bounce him back. He's been our most consistent starter all year. That's one area we've been lacking is we haven't had the starters. Mitchell's been the consistent. We've tried 6 different guys. LeBlanc got injured, so he's trying to bounce back here at the end. So pitching has just kind of been a coin flip. The one thing that kind of I think about, not concerned, but could be an issue is the heat on an all turf field. It's starting to get really hot. That's something that where you got to kind of make sure your guys hydrate. We actually played at San Antonio a couple of weeks ago, and I had to take 2 guys out of the games for cramps. So something you in the tournament, you really got to stay locked in on, and make sure your guys stay hydrated from that capacity. And otherwise, like I said, as long as the wind blows out, I'm good. So hopefully I'll get there we're leaving tomorrow. I'll get there and check it for a week and see the way it's blowing.
I'm guessing AccuWeather is going to be checked frequently this week, Coach. For sure. Looking at today, the Southland Conference, all conference teams were announced today, and UNO placed 5 players, 3 on the first team, 2 in the second team. Tristan Moore wins Hitter of the Year. I think, first of all, congratulations on your kids having that success and doing that. I want to talk about the defensive conference because Emmanuel and I talked this morning, and he told me, he goes, I will be absolutely floored if Caston Fur doesn't make the all-conference team. This man, ladies and gentlemen, has a 99.6% fielding percentage. He made 1 error this year, was part of 37 double plays, but yet he's not on the first team. I don't want to focus on that, but that's a heck of an egregious omission, coach. I have to say, and I don't know what the heck they were thinking. Just being quite honest, how that man is not on the first team all defense blows my mind.
Yeah, you look at this thing every year, right? And
Hmm.
I tell people all the time, voting is subjective, right?
Yeah.
One
It
person
is.
they may value home runs as I value home runs. They may value average. I may value on base. They may value slugging, etc. So to me, that's first team all conference shortstop can be subjective. There's different things, but when the thing is all defensive and it's solely about defensive stats. And you talk about a young man who played every single day at shortstop
Hmm.
and made one error the entire year. He made 0 errors in conference. And the guy, and again, I'm taking nothing away from Nichols shortstop. He's a very, very good player. And, do I think he deserved, first team all conference? That's sure. I'm not going to argue that, but not defensive. Not when, Fur made 1 error. And I think he fielded 956. You're talking numbers don't lie. Those, when we play on a natural surface field, we don't play on turf, right? A lot of these schools play on turf, so again, that one I'll fight for to the end, because I thought Fur got totally shafted. Again, I understand if first and second team all conference, the other guys had great numbers. I won't argue that one whatsoever, but defensive, it was no question. This happened a couple years ago with Salo Isa, second baseman I had. He ended up not getting all defensive second baseman. It was very cut and dry. His numbers were better. And then the ABCA goes and gives him the best defensive second baseman of the year, the Gold Glove winner for college baseball. So it's embarrassing to our conference. That's embarrassing that, it's that egregious. So hopefully Ferg ends up winning the Gold Glove at shortstop for college baseball, being the best defensive player. And if he does, I'll make sure that everybody knows about it.
I'm sure. Tristan Moore, talk about his progression this year. He wins hitter of the year. He was basically one of your ringleaders on this group. Talk about his progression this season.
Well, he's got 19 home runs now, got
Yeah.
hitter of the year, again, I think it speaks for himself from what he's done production wise. Heck, I didn't start him the first 5 games, so I probably look like the crazy one. He could have had 20 plus, home runs. So a guy that, actually, like I said, didn't start, sat on the bench the first couple games. I think I put him in his first start, I believe, was the Saturday game at FAMU for the Andre Dawson. As where he got his first start. I think he hit 2 doubles, and I never took him out. And so he's been a great asset to our lineup, especially after we lost Pierce Howard last year. That was one of our big anchors in the lineup. The guy's done a really great job filling in and plays a pretty good left field that kind of gets overshadowed a little bit as well from that bat, but been a great player for us.
My final question to you, coach, is and I know I'm going to probably get a coach speak answer or whatnot, but when you look at the composition of the field, look, first place to 8th place or 7th place, 3 games separated the top to the 7 seed. Am I correct in that? And that's how competitive this conference is. When you look at the composition of the tournament and how the bracket sets up, personally, I mean, I can show the inherent bias, and I believe you guys have a real opportunity here based on the fact that you've won a bunch of conference series in a row. But when you look at this group, who do you feel is the most concerning team in this tournament besides yourself?
Again, it depends. Again, I think Lamar has some of the better arms across the board.
Mhm.
I think that, again, I think Nichols has a little bit of both. I think they can score runs. Obviously, they won the conference, so they can score some runs, and they've got some good arms. They have the freshmen. They have some bullpen arms that were good. When we played Northwestern earlier, they had really good arms. It appears they've kind of cooled off a little bit. So for me, from what I saw, the 2 teams that really, really kind of had it, both were obviously Lamar's arms, and I thought that, I thought Nichols was one of the more sound teams. They had defense, they had a little bit of offense, and they had some arms as well. So I still think Nichols is the team to kind of go after.
And Coach, I wanted to ask you, how's things going with the recruiting and everything? You then got a couple of big people that you signed. One is Brian Olivier from Delgado, which the Delgado Dolphins have made the Junior College World Series. What are your thoughts on snatching him from a very good team in the New Orleans area?
Yeah, I think he's a good player, right? I mean, we always try to get some local guys if we can, right? I've said this from day one, and I've always kind of received a little flack about this. Is everyone from New Orleans wants you to sign New Orleans players, right? That's the important thing. And I say that's fine if I can get the best New Orleans player. If I'm not, I'm going to get him from somewhere else. And they gave me a little grief about it for a while, but they've kind of settled down a little bit. New Orleans is a place that can draw from wherever. I tell people all the time. I go get a kid from Pittsburgh or Canada or California or anywhere like that and ask them where New Orleans are. They all know, right? You go ask somebody, where Natchitoches is. It's a little bit difficult. That's just something they don't have to their advantage that we have to utilize. But we like to get the local guys when we can. Hopefully, he'll be a big arm for us and come in and contribute and help out for us. But recruiting is tough, especially the transfer portal stuff. Like I said, I look at my lineup this year and go, man, what if I had a Monty Larry? Guy's hitting leadoff at Mississippi State, playing second base, and should be here still. Well, I mean, my God, we're talking. You're hitting 100+ home runs, stealing bases. It's wild. That's the tough part about mid majors is it's hard to build last due to the fact that you're never going to get Dylan Cruz to come play at UNO, but you can always get Dylan Cruz to go to LSU, right? That's the tough part about building something that could easily be broken down just as soon as you build it.
Monty Larry is definitely an awesome coach and everything. He was awesome last year for the Privateers, and it's good that he's doing well at Mississippi State. And I wanted to ask you just one more thing. Going back to when you were in college, the coaching now, do you think this is like one of the favorite times of the year, especially for an athlete or a coach? When I grew up watching college baseball and everything, and when I was younger growing up, and it's unbelievable to think like, this is actually a cool time if you're a college baseball player because, school wound up being out at the time, especially you're still playing. And then all of a sudden you're just focusing more, you're locked in more of the season, especially when you got that extra activities you got to do with academics and stuff outside of the playing field.
Yeah, I think for me, as a player, the first thing that I remember about this point in the year is the meal money. Right, that's what I always remembered. It's like, all right, we get a couple weeks of meal money. You get the SEC tournament, you get the regional, you go to the super regional, you get the Omaha. Man, that money starts adding up right there. So when you're at that age, you feel like you're rich. You get a couple $100 a week. You think you're doing something good. So yeah, this is what everyone works for, right? You don't work your entire fall, your summer, to go home early, right? You want a trophy. You want to win it all. You want to be victorious at the very end. You want to play as long as you can. And for a lot of these guys, some of the older guys, when it's over, it's it. That's it. It's time to go get a job. It's time to, life hits you in the mouth real quick. So yeah, I think like you said, school's out too. So that's an important thing. And they get to they sleep in, which heck, half of them nowadays take online classes and sleep in all day anyways. They're sleeping. They get to just focus on baseball. And again, they get to spend these last couple weeks together as a unit. And then when the season's over, again, they may not see some of these players and teammates for years. Right. So it's a good memory to have. And, you want to stick together as long as you can.
Coach, we'll get you out of here with this last question. After playing for LSU, playing in the major leagues, what made you decide that you wanted to be a coach?
I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. I guess I'll give the generic answer as anyone else is. I didn't know what to do outside of baseball. Right? I mean,
Wow.
you look at it a lot of times. I never grew up and just was like, man, I want to coach baseball. I never thought about it like that. I enjoyed playing. It always came pretty easy to me from the game aspect of playing it. And so, I tell people all the time, no one wants to go do something they're not good at. So I tell my guys all the time when I challenge guys to do things they're not good at, they get frustrated, they get upset, they don't want to spend a lot of time on it. And I was always pretty good at baseball. Like I said, it came easy. So when it came time, I just didn't enjoy the pro ball aspect of it simply because it was too much baseball. I enjoy fishing. I enjoy hanging out. I enjoy just the banter of being around the guys as much as I did playing. And so I said, well, how can I continue to do that and be involved in it? And, I'm not playing anymore. So I talked to Coach Maneri and said, hey, why don't you come back, coach with me, see if you like it. And I did. I enjoyed the banner of it, of being able to recruit the players, to talk to these guys. And probably the part that I enjoy the most about it now is I've got 40 guys to where, when I was at LSU, I wanted to be the hitter. in Omaha with the bases loaded with 2 outs and to hit the walk-off homer. I held my own destiny in my hands. I don't do that anymore. I have 18-year-olds that are dictating whether we win or lose and control my job, right? So it's something to where you have total control but no control. So that's the fun part about it, is the unknown of what happens, and you just trying to prepare them the best you can and get these guys to believe in you and hopefully end up with a win. Otherwise, you sit there and scratch your head a lot.
Well, Coach, we thank you for joining us, and also good luck in the Southland Conference tournament that starts tomorrow. So we wish you the best of luck and go get it done, Coach.
And
Thank you.
also, UNO fans catch the Privateers starting, I believe, on Wednesday, right, Coach?
That's right.
Wednesday against Lamar, and all Privateer fans, come on out there. All the Nickel State, all the Louisiana teams, come out and support all these teams in the Southland Conference tournament starting tomorrow. If you can't make it out there, catch it on ESPN Plus. It should be a very great tournament. Let's go out there and support these teams, especially the UNO Privateers. And hopefully, we wish you the best, Coach. And hopefully, the Privateers will come out winners and hopefully Southland Conference champs.
Most definitely.
That's right, man. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach.
All right, you guys take care.
Right. Coach Blake Dean, the head coach of the UNO Privateers baseball team. Southern Conference pretty tough. UNO can hit. They got the hitters. Do they have a great chance? I say yes. George Peppers.
I concur. I mean, I obviously have a bigger pulse on the team because my brother is the play-by-play voice of the Privateers, so he fills me in on a lot of stuff. And and I listen to some of the games when my schedule allows me to. That's the mercy of it. But they've always, with Blake Dean, they've always been able to hit the baseball. They've had good pitchers come along, with Swarzak, and then they had I'm now, the name escapes me. I guess 53 years old is a little old, but I mean they've had pitchers, and then they got Brandon Mitchell this year, who's double digits in wins. He's going to start, as Coach Dean mentioned, on Wednesday against the Lamar team that can pitch. It's pivotal, obviously, in a tournament setting that they have to win game one, and especially for UNO. If they can get the win in game one, look, I told Emmanuel this, and I'm going to tell you guys, and I'm not. This is being objective. Looking at our side of the UNO side of the bracket, if they win, they get the winner of Incarnate Word and Northwestern State. Incarnate Word is a team they hit 11 home runs on in their last weekend series on the road. They hit 11 at their park, and they beat them 2 of 3. Should have won all 3. One of the games was they let 2 5-run leads get away because the bullpen couldn't hold. Yeah, I mean that's tough. And then the other team in there is Northwestern State, and they're not playing the same baseball they were at the beginning of the year. This is a team that, look, you want to be playing your best ball now, and if just being objective, UNO's got a real opportunity here. If they could beat Lamar in game one, and they can, I think they can get game 2 and piece it together after that and see what happens. I think the Privateers, I don't know if it's going to be guerrilla ball because I'm not sure that park at Lake Charles is conducive to that, but I think UNO's got a great opportunity, VK, and I really, objectively speaking, and I'll say this personally, I hope for my brother that they do win it because it gives them a chance to call an NCAA tournament game with the Privateers. That would be cool for me. That would be my highlight if they get that done.
That'd be
For the
great.
part of it winning it, that would be the coolest thing for me.
Yeah.
And I can agree with you on that. And I think Lamar is going to be their toughest game to date for the UNO Privateers. And if they can get by Lamar, and if Mitchell has an outstanding performance and UNO hits the ball very, very well and gets a big win against a good Lamar pitching team, they got a great chance to make it deep. You know what I'm saying? But the biggest thing is UNO should not. I know Lamar is the first mountain to climb. They get by them. They cannot underestimate Northwestern. They cannot underestimate Incarnate Word because throw the records out the window when you get in the conference tournament. But they need to. They got to get by Lamar first. Then they got to take care of business from there because the bullpen is kind of
One game at a time.
Yeah, the bullpen's kind of up and down for the UNO Privateers. But at the same time, if they can put it together they have a great chance of making it through and possibly winning the tournament. I'm one of the advocates for Blake Dean. I remember when he first got started with Ryan Maestri, as he tried to bring back tradition and winning and stuff like that. Maestri did a decent job, but we just knew that Blake Dean would be the next guy. And he came in there and I said to myself, he'll be a big time shot in the arm, especially for that program. He's done an unbelievable job since he has taken over. So, for him to continue the consistency and everything else, hopefully this year that UNO could get over the hump and finally get to the NCAA tournament. It's been a long time since the Privateers it's been a while since they've won it. I don't know. I think Blake might have won the tournament one time. Oh, he's never won it, Joe.
He's never won it.
He's never won.
Never.
So it's been a while since the Privateers have won the tournament, going to the NCAAs. So it's time. Hopefully, it's time for Blake, and I hope this is his time that they finally get to the NCAAs. And I will be very excited for Emmanuel to get the opportunity to call an NCAA tournament game, man. It'd be big for him, man. I called some tournament postseason myself, but this would be bigger than what I'm doing, man. So I wish UNO the best.
All right. Quickly, fellas, let's talk about something that happened yesterday. Two things in the Women's College World Series softball. I'm going to LSU first. Their first game with Louisiana, Lafayette. Yes, that's what I'm going to say. I'm not just saying Louisiana because I know that's ULL. Their first game with them, that was a home run to tie the game. I don't care what no one says. That was a home run. Go back and look at it. You see the ball behind the pole. The pole has squares, open squares. You see the ball go through it. It was a home run. How that wasn't reviewable or whatever, I don't know. That's crazy. But to have the lead 8-6 and 8-7, and you are 3 outs to away, and you can't close out Louisiana, Lafayette, horrible. You lost to an in-state rival. Plus, you haven't been to the College World Series itself since 2017. So you lost to them. I'm telling y'all, there might be a change at head coach for LSU softball. Beth Torino might be seeing herself out the door, because you ain't supposed to lose to no Louisiana Lafayette. Now, McNeese, oh man, you in the last inning. You got 3 outs left, and you're gonna go to the Super Regional to play Louisiana Lafayette. You're up 6-0. You tell me in the last inning you let Washington score 7 to win the game. Choke City. Don't care what no one says. Choke City, big time. George Peppers.
Where do we start? You've already done the chronological part because the LSU thing happened first. Which one is the more egregious choke? I think it's no question it's McNeese, only because they needed 3 outs and they were 6 runs to the good. 3. You got to get 21 outs in softball. They got 18 and they lose 7-6. So that's the more egregious choke. Now going back to LSU. Okay, I get the argument. LSU fans are going to probably castigate me and tell me, well, we had it. Ours was, this and that. You know what? Y'all choked too. Don't think y'all getting off the hook. Y'all needed 1 win and 2 games to get it in your park to get it. And you didn't get it done. Now, last year, I'm going to give them a pass. You talked about Serena's job security. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, because last year I'll give them a pass because it was a tough year. They had a bunch of injuries, didn't even host the regional and went 2-Q. This year, this was a team that was built to have an elongated postseason run, and they're not going to because they're gone. Lafayette is now onto the Super Regional, and for a good 30 minutes or so, they thought, well, doggone, we're going to be home for it. Nope. They got to go all the way to Washington. I think they got a real shot there to go in there and they're not going to disgrace themselves. This is a 50-win team.
Yeah.
Lafayette. So let's not look at them like a pushover. LSU fans will be like, we lost to Lafayette. Okay, look at their softball tradition. They are strong. Almost every year, that's a strong baseball softball program.
But
They
most
do
people
a
gonna
great
sit there
job
and tell
there.
you LSU not supposed to lose to them because they have the better
Says
talent.
who? Exactly, but says who? I mean, since when are LSU fans the initiators of all things sports? Calm down. I mean, let's slow y'all roll, LSU fans. I mean, this is the part of LSU fans that I don't care for. They act like that certain things don't stink, and they run the roost. First of all, yeah, no other. How many other programs would gag away you know, basically a one-off, and you don't get it done?
Yeah.
That's on them. The McNeese one is way more egregious, VK, because again, it's a Southland school. Oh, by the way, McNeese had 46 wins this year. They rolled through the Southland and they handled business in the tournament. And Washington is a perennially strong team out of one of the best conferences in softball. The Pac-12 always produces big time conference teams like Arizona, UCLA. Um, Washington is now into the mix. Funny thing is, in the softball bracket, UCLA, the overall 2 seed was two at barbecue to Grand Canyon and Liberty
Mm.
at home. How you like them apples?
Wow.
But that's embarrassing. But that's it. Oklahoma's winning the World Series. I think they're all playing for second. They've only lost one game all year.
Hmm.
Uh, that's gorilla ball at its best, and they pitch crazy. But yeah, BK, I think these choke jobs are something we're going to talk about because it happened, and if you don't talk about it, you're not doing it justice.
You just hate to see that in the state of Louisiana. You just hate to see this. You hate to see this. First of all, we'll talk about McNeese. No way. And we're not going to knock. The season was unbelievable for the Cowgirls. Unbelievable year. Come down to this 6-0, and you couldn't finish. You gotta finish. This is the biggest lesson the McNeese softball program must take from there going forward. You have to finish games regardless of where you're at or whatever, especially if you're taking it to another level. You're this close from getting your first berth to the super regional and your first ever berth, and you split it away. I hope they take a lesson from this going forward and they learn this lesson and they could be better going into next season. Now ULL, who has been very and the LSU fans need to stop. ULL has been very consistent. Very consistent. This is a team that has had a now I'm hoping I'm right or I'm wrong. Has they had a berth to the Women's College World Series at one time? The UL,
They have.
yes. So they had a berth before. So plain and simple, LSU fans need to slow their roll and eat some humble pie. Because plain and simple, it's just like the LSU baseball program. Sometimes they run out of gas. A year they lost to Stony Brook. A year they lost to Coastal Carolina, which I predicted right. They won the national championship. So plain and simple, LSU fans need to slow their freaking roll. Sometimes all days are not good. You come out short, and they had a chance to win it. But against rival teams, especially when they're good, they step up and play. So you got to take them out. And it's just the fact that LSU didn't have the killing instinct. Now, Vectorina, she could be out. She might get a little rope a little bit going into next year, but a short one because of what happened this year. You know, I'm not gonna give her too much benefit of the doubt, but remember, LSU had a shaky start, and then LSU turning around and got hot at the end of the year. So for this, I think it might cause Tarina to be back, but on a short rope going into next year. But like I said, they should have closed it out and everything else. I don't think I agree. I agree, Jared, to disagree. I agree that Tarina might be out soon, but I don't think she might be out this soon. I think if they might go into next year, if things don't go too right, that's when LSU will pull the trigger.
I got a feeling it's happening. I'm gonna
You
keep
might, you might,
tabs on it. I just got a feeling it's happening, man.
you might be right. You might be right. I'm not saying you're wrong, but you
Oh no, you're
might be
not.
right.
Yeah, you
You
saying you
might be
think she
right.
got a year with
I,
a
I,
short string?
but
I think it might happen.
I say a short string because of the fact of the matter is, remember, LSU started out slow out the gates,
Yeah.
and then they got hot at the right time. And I'm telling you, that causes somebody a job being saved for right now. But they know trouble is on the horizon now because of what happened. You got a short little rope now. So,
Wait, George.
I have to interject. LSU, you're right. They did get going late in the season. Problem was they were one and done in the SEC tournament.
that's true.
And then
Another thing.
blowing the regional, huh?
So that's another
Blowing
thing.
the regional. I mean, the credence to Jared's idea that Serena may be out, it's there. The credibility is there. Why? Because of it's and in this age of impatience, where ads are impatient, and winning now, and LSU had a pretty good level of success for a while with Serena. Made 4 College World Series with her. Didn't win the national championship, but they got there 4 times and established a level of consistency and a high level of play.
Yes.
Could she be out? I'd say 40-60 that she stays, so that she's out. I think 40-60 that she stays. I mean that she's out. I think they're going to give her. They're going to give her one more, and if it doesn't seem like there's any progression, then she's gone. But touching on McNeese real fast,
Wait.
want to know what concerns me about the Cowgirls? That team had a spectacular regular season, 46 wins, took Washington to the limit, should have won it. I think the psyche and carryover going into next year is what concerns me with them because that's the last thing they're going to remember. And ESPN, the 4-letter network, being what they are, they love to rub in people's misery. I mean, it's obviously a choke job, but those girls are going to hear it all summer. I hope they come back like a bat out of hell next year and do what they and close the deal next year if they're in position to do it. But that's the concerning thing for me for those two. And I don't know if you're seeing, but the Nuggets have
Oh, we see
exploded
it.
here in the third
We
quarter.
see it.
94-89, and VK, I think we have a chance at this. We put together me and VK crafted together a little same game, and the numbers are starting to add just a little bit. We're in position. We just got to close the deal.
Okay,
All
it
right.
sounds pretty good. And got a little fact, got a little a little information from George Pepper's brother Emmanuel Peppers, the play-by-play man for the UNO Privateers. The last time the UNO baseball Privateers won a postseason conference tournament was in 2007 in the Sun Belt, and I believe that was under Tom Walter. So
Correct.
that is the last time. But UNO has been in the Southland Conference Championship game, I believe, once or twice, but came up
Yeah, they
short.
lost to, I think it was Arkansas State or Western Kentucky when they were still in the belt. I don't know if they've made it in the. I think they made it in the Southland once, but I'm
Yes.
not I'm not 100% sure. But
I think they made it one year in the Southland. They was in Katy and got to the championship, but came up short.
right,
And then I think last year they had a chance against was it
Eastern.
Southeastern, and had a chance
Yeah.
to push to the championship, but came up short on that
Yep.
Saturday. So
Hmm.
they was in position before, but this is if UNO wins it, this will be the first ever Southland Conference championship.
All right.
How great would it be, though?
It'd be wonderful.
It'd be
Ecstatic.
it'd be wonderful, very wonderful
Mhm.
for the University of New Orleans and also for the city of New Orleans in itself. It's been a while since the Privateers has made the postseason, and the way it's looking in the Southland Conference, the way it looks, and I think Blake talked about it. I talked about it with Jude Young and Emmanuel Peppers, and they said anybody from Louisiana that wins the tournament, they will be going to the Baton Rouge Regional. Anybody from Texas wins the tournament, they will go to whoever is hosting in Texas's regional. So we're talking about particular team in Texas because the way it's looking for the first time maybe ever, there might be one team out of the state of Texas that's hosting a regional. Everybody else will be on the road.
Mm.
And that's Dallas Baptist is the only team that's probably going to be hosting a regional this year.
All right. Dillon University won their Where is it, VK? Help me out right quick.
GCAC.
No, not Dillard. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Delgado. I'm sorry.
Delgado,
Delgado.
yes, Delgado. They won the NJCAA South Central Regional. That's the Super Regional in the NJCAA, and they won it. They beat Crowder. They made the three sweep, the 3-game sweep. They beat Crowder. They beat Seminole State. They beat Seminole State first. Then they beat Crowder in a very handled game, and then they had to play Seminole State again. Seminole State came out from the losers bracket, and they made it to the championship, and they pushed Delgado to the limit, went to extra innings, and Josh Alexander, the guy who hit the game-winning base hit to win the Region 23 tournament, he did it again. A base hit going towards the wall. Cole Strongbow was at from first, and he rounded all the way. They sent him home. Close play at the plate, but this was obvious. He was safe. When you look at the replay, he was safe this time. Correct call on that one. And Delgado Community College goes to the Junior College World Series. They will be in Grand Junction. They're in Grand Junction on their way. They're on their way right now, or actually they're leaving in the morning. So they start Saturday.
Awesome. Congratulations to Coach Joe Sherman and the Delgado Dolphins.
My question to you is, and I've been asking you this all day. I understand you've been going through some things. Do you want Joe Sherman on the show tomorrow night? We know we got a good show tomorrow night with our featured guest. Do you want Sherman back to talk about what happened in the region to preview the Junior College World Series for them?
Yes.
And the bracket comes out tomorrow for the Junior College World Series. The 8 teams that are going to participate, they're going to announce those pairings tomorrow. So we'll have that info as well, if we can get Coach Sherman. But I can't wait for tomorrow.
He's on it right now. He's
I'm
texting him
on
right
it
now. He's on it right now.
He's the best booker in New Orleans, Jared, right?
Oh man.
But can't win a bet.
Before we head out, any last words, George Peppers?
I mean, another great show tonight. This is the start of 3 great shows this week. We're the second entity to have a very special guest tomorrow. Emily Randolph, the new head coach of Hahnville's men's basketball team, first female to coach men's basketball in the state of Louisiana. We're the second entity to have her. The first was ABC 26, and proud to say for an upcoming show like ours to be there and grab her. And I've watched her interview on ABC 26, and she comes off as very articulate and very personable. And I'm looking forward to talking with her tomorrow night. And if we can lock up Joe Sherman, that's going to be fun. I want to know if we need to get him a pacemaker, because and I'm going to mention this tomorrow night, but I'll pre-mention it now. In the last 6 games that Delgado has played, 5 of them have been walk-offs. 5. That's, for a coach, that's absolutely insane. It's like, man, how much more can you take? Pressured moments and all. But to do this with you guys, it's fun. We're progressing well and doing very well. And Jared, I hope you get well with what you're going through with your with what you're going through. Our prayers are with you.
Injury. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Just being real. But that's what friends do.
Right.
So, but that said, we're looking forward to congregating again tomorrow night. And VK, I know we pick on each other and all that stuff, but I do it in fun. I don't ever do it in a vindictive way. Never have, never will.
Right. And I'd like to apologize for my tardiness and everything. I was getting everything set. I wanted to share a video to AJ and ask him that question, but then all of a sudden I unfortunately dozed off. I did.
It happened.
And I'm like, and I look at the clock, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, I cannot believe that. Okay.
Jared, can I say one thing?
Of course.
Hey, to VK, I'm going to say this to you. Before you came on, Jared asked AJ Samuel what was his best game that he played at ncaafootball. I hate to say this to you, dog, but he mentioned the game against you guys, against St. Augustine. So it would have been fun to see your reaction to hear that live. But he did mention.
I would not have been mad, because you know why I would not have been mad? Cause Card, and I'm gonna be real, Card kicked the living you know what out of us that day.
Who?
My alma mater, St. Augustine. Card kicked the you know what out of my school. And the thing about me, I love my alma mater, but I'm a realist. And I'm gonna tell you the truth straight up. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes when we have moments, you know what I'm saying? I remember Nick Foster got the win against Carr in an upset victory. But everybody and their mama talking smack instead of being humble and being grateful for the moment. I feel like some fan bases are ungrateful and don't just be humble and enjoy the moment. That was a great moment for Nick Foster. That was a great moment for me. But for ednakarr, hey, they shown that they own the field, man. So I gotta give them that. Give them a lot of credit.
Most definitely.
And
Tomorrow night, George already said it. We have Coach Erica Randolph. She was promoted to be, well, she is the head coach of the Hornville Boys basketball team. First female in the state of Louisiana to coach a boys basketball team. Do y'all know if there's been any other woman that has coached any other boys events in this state?
No, not that I know of. I mean, VK, I mean, you're more into it. Not that I'm not into, but again, I don't have the time and everything else to do that. But I don't recall any female ever coaching a men's sport in the state of Louisiana. I think Erica Randolph said it right in her interview on ABC
She
26.
said basketball for
You know,
sure.
yeah, I don't remember. Obviously, basketball would be the sport, but
I'm
I
saying
don't
all sports in
remember.
general. I mean,
there's
that's
there's
what I'm
been
thinking.
I can't think of none.
there's been female coach. There've been certain female coaches that's been
But head
on,
coaches,
not head coaches, but been on the staff, and sometimes
right?
they have taken over games. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? They've been taken over to be the head person that did a lot of things
Oh
and stuff
wow.
like that. Well, we haven't never seen somebody taking the lead. So, but it's been growing across America. It's been growing across America, but I think this is the first in the state of Louisiana. If we're wrong, please comment, or not just that, hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on the YouTube, and let us know. We're talking about people who are past coaches or people in media. If this is Coach Erica's is this the first female in this state to coach a male dominated sport? Is this the fact? Yes. If not, please give us a name so we can be corrected. Yeah.
Transparent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put that comment back up, Jared. I just saw a comment, and this is why we do the show. Tiffany Payday, I think is how you say that name. Look at that, y'all. This is why we do this, because of stuff like that. When people recognize what we do, this is why we do it. Y'all see that comment?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yes.
There you go. This is why we do what we do, and this is why we are the team we are. And I love the fact that we can do this frequently
Yeah.
and whatnot. And we're going to congregate again tomorrow night. Hopefully, VK will have fatter pockets. So will I.
Here's promising news. Here's some promising news, and I'm gonna have to gather with y'all tomorrow on this one. I got the message
All
from
right.
Tyler Sherman. He's the son of Joe Sherman, also the SID at Delgado. He says
Right.
we maybe be on the road. We're traveling to Grand Junction tomorrow. I will touch
All
base
right.
with you in the morning. So I even told him he can join us on the phone if they're on the bus. So or iPad. It doesn't matter. We want to have him on, but he'll talk to me in the morning and we'll see if we can have him on tomorrow night to talk about the super regional and also talk about what's they're looking forward to because you said, George, by tomorrow they'll have the brackets out of who Delgado will be playing on Saturday.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So, well, if he can do it, we'll have him on. So,
what a week right here, man. What a start to a week that
yes.
we're having here. AJ Samuel and Blake Dean joining us
Yes,
today.
sir. Yep.
Tomorrow, Coach
Erica
Erica
Randolph
and
and
also
Joe Sherman.
and
And
Joe
then Wednesday, Coach Glenn Sacchini and Jai Eugene Jr.
Yeah, this is a great week to join us, ladies and gentlemen. Like, share, and tag our show. JB your sports guy, Vashawn K. Jones on YouTube, and find us on the social medias on Instagram at the Real VK Jones, Twitter the Real VK Jones, and Facebook Vashawn Jones, George Peppers, and also Jared JB Boyd. And you can find George Peppers also on Twitter as well. So just subscribe, follow us, man. You know what I'm saying? We love what we do. And this is a big week, and we like for all y'all to come through and the people who came on tonight. We thank you all the people that came on tonight who maybe some for the first time. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back tomorrow night, and come on back Wednesday night. We're trying to get a consistent audience, and we want you to come along for the ride. So if you like what you see tonight, you're going to love what we see going forward, because we got a lot of stuff lined up for the summer. You know what I'm saying? A lot of big guests. So we're going to have a lot of fun on the Hash It Out show. So continue to like, subscribe, share, and continue to join us and support us.
Most definitely. For my good friend George Peppers, for my good friend VK Jones, we want to thank Jay Samuel and Coach Blake Dean for joining us. I'm the host, JB, your sports guy. We're back tomorrow, 8:15 p.m. Be here. Not going to miss it. Y'all take care.